Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Tech Can't Save Us podcast, brought to you by Literal Humans. As always, I'm Paul David, founder and CEO of Literal Humans, and your host. And I'm joined today by Leo Crowe, the co-founder and CEO of Souk. Welcome to the pod, man.
Thanks for having me. Good
to have you. We got a chance to hang out in Dublin and had some fun times at the SaaS Stock conference a couple of weeks ago. So good to see you recovered from that. And,
only just took a couple of weeks, but we're good.
It was a good one. So today we're going to talk about AI agents for the next generation of channel partnerships. And I'm really happy to be talking about that with you because channel partnerships, we're just seeing a lot of energy, a lot of traffic about partnerships in general and channel partnerships specifically with our clients and in the tech space. So it's very timely. And so I'm glad we brought you on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I mean, we met when I was at Deal and Partnership, so it's like full loop.
Yeah. We've done a lot of work in the EOR space, so that's how we got connected initially. By way of introduction, Leo is the co-founder and CEO of Souk, a newly launched AI platform transforming how companies build and scale channel partnerships. Leo's path to founding Souk is uniquely modern, starting in fundraising tech, moving through cybersecurity VCs, leading partnerships at Deal, and driving enterprise sales at Papaya Global. Most recently, he joined Antler's 2025 London cohort. That's no small feat. Well done there. Selected from over 150,000 plus applicants and landing in the top 0.4% who secured investment to build their next venture. Amazing.
That's the global stats. The London's a bit smaller, but yeah.
Okay, got you. You don't need to disclaim. You can take that credit.
They'll have a go at me.
Now at Souk, Leo and his team are building AI agents designed to automate partner activation, streamline go-to-market motions, and help companies unlock channel revenue faster and more intelligently. We're going to talk about that because we just got out of a strategy session about that very thing. So we might be a customer pretty soon. We'll see. So let's jump in. So paint the picture for our audience. Why are channel partnerships becoming the next frontier for AI transformation?
Yeah, sure. So I guess at the highest level, businesses make money in three ways, right? I think there's sales. Everyone knows sales. Yeah. There's marketing and there's partnerships. And partnerships is like this, historically been this dark horse where people kind of know what sales and marketing is, but partnerships is a bit of a gray area in most people's minds. But you look at companies like Salesforce, HubSpot, AWS, over half their revenue now comes from partnerships, which is like shocking. No one's really aware of that. But this has really snuck up in the past 5 years or so. Okay. And even smaller companies, like startups, it seems like 30-ish% of their revenue come from partnerships. So
why do you think it's sneaking up? Like, how's it rising suddenly?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think the world is, first of all, businesses are more connected than ever. I think like my time at Deal, we did a lot of services, but we found that there were thousands of companies that could offer complementary services. And the reason that's impactful is because when a partner is working on a deal with you, double is likely to close, the customer is less likely to churn, and the deal will close 50% faster. There's no reason not to partner.
So customers like partnerships, and they're more likely to close if they see a partnership sort of incoming to help them.
Exactly. I mean, think of it. If someone says to you, "Hey, look, Paul, I've got a mate. I think you benefit from his services. Let me introduce you."
Yeah,
that's better than me cold calling or saying, "Hey, buy my stuff." Yeah. So just from that basic level, so everyone kind of agrees partnerships is a good thing, but finding partners that actually work is a nightmare. That's something I experienced at Deal. 3 hours a day looking for new partners using sales tools. And then most of those partners don't do anything. So I spend 3 hours a day looking for partners. Only 1 in 10 will ever refer me a lead. So that's 9 out of 10 relationships. I made a lot of friends.
I mean, we felt that though, because we bring in, we brought in many agencies to work with us on briefs. But like, we don't quite always see, and that's no shade. We love our partners and stuff like that. But I guess it just shows that like our sales function is, a little bit stronger, or at least a bit more partner oriented perhaps. Yeah. But like, I would love to get in like kind of the talking about the inefficiencies, in terms of the partnership ecosystem. So there's inefficiencies in finding a partner, there's inefficiencies in managing a partner, there's inefficiencies in executing a partnership. So like, talk to me about the inefficiencies you're seeing in the partnership ecosystem.
Yeah. So it's like 3 big pillars, right? So one is finding partners. That's, as I said, 3 hours a day looking for partners on LinkedIn, Google, events, all this sort of thing. That in itself is prospecting challenge, which AI today enables us to really shorten those timelines down. So
and a matching challenge as well, right? Like alignment.
Yeah. But even with that, like traditional partner marketplaces, I don't know if you've ever been on like spareroom.com, looking for a room, get ignored by 100 people. Right. It's the same with looking for partners. If you're on a partner marketplace, you'll get ignored by 100 people.
Right.
Or you're back into that 1 in 10 situations. Finding partners is historically really hard. But the biggest orgs, Microsoft, onboards 7,000 partners every month. So some companies are kind of figuring it out, but I bet most of them don't do much. Right. The second piece is that activation. All right, you found some partners, only 1 in 10 ever do anything. So how do we get that to 10 in 10? right?
Okay.
It's about finding the right ones, hitting the calls.
And just so I understand, is activation kind of the same as like managing and execution? Are you bundling managing and execution together? Or?
To some,
Yeah,
activation to me really is we added mutual revenue value.
sure.
All right, have you
Yeah.
sent me a lead? Have I sent you a lead?
Yeah.
Or have you sent me a lead? Have I paid you out for it? Like that,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And there's whole different layers of activation. You can do account mapping. You can look at my customers. I can look at your customers and say, hey, what intros can we do? It's a bit ostensible in that you think that would work. I spent hours doing that.
Yeah.
Didn't get that many results in the past. And then things like, how do you nurture that long tail of partners and keep them kind of proactive?
Yeah.
And then the final piece is that maintenance, right? I've got these partners. This person's keen to send me a lead. 90% of partners have reported not being paid on time.
Whoa.
So you've put all this time into finding them. You found these golden nuggets to actually send you a lead and then you don't pay them.
And then the money's coming through the partner, not the client.
Well,
Yeah.
it's more that disconnect between the finance function and the partnerships function.
Yeah.
I want my partners to be paid.
Yeah.
I want them to win. But then if you don't pay them, best case, they stop sending you leads.
Yeah.
You're back to square one. Worst case, they sue you. And there's examples of that being in the millions. Companies get sued a lot of money because you owe these people money and you've got a contract saying you will. So
Yeah.
those are like the three big pillars that we're addressing at Souk as well.
Let's talk about AI. AI is now embedded in most go-to-market tooling.
Yeah.
So, how do you think partner-led growth will evolve over the next few years? Obviously, you guys are, using AI and agentic. Like, talk to us about how you see it impacting the sector. And obviously, there's a human element to this too. So, curious to hear your thoughts on the evolution.
Yeah, I think especially at that finding layer, that's what we're really interested in.
Okay.
And when I kind of pitch Souk to partnerships people, if I say we find, sign, activate, and pay partners, they're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
but
nice.
most people, when you say that, they're like, we're essentially AI SDR meets partner ops. And so the way we use AI, we have something called a RAG, which is a very clever AI database, about 400 million contacts in that,
Oh, wow.
and then billions of touch points around those people. And so for us, the use of AI is a user can come onto the platform and say, find me chief revenue officers in New York who like running, who I can invite to my 10K event. I just imagine trying to find those kind of people. With us, the agent will click through all the profiles. It will find a list of 100 people really quick. I say really quick, like 3 seconds. Under 10 seconds is our SLA. And so that's how we exploit that 3 hours a day prospecting challenge. AI helps us bring that right down.
Okay.
Also the other pieces though, like there's agentic finance happening, not like agentic payments is like a new thing in AI. It's an interesting space.
Yeah.
My background's payments. So I love payments and how AI can be used in it. It's not essential for what we're doing right now, but 100% in the future.
On the roadmap, maybe, in terms of like payments between partners?
So we do facilitate payments, but
Okay.
It's the kind of thing you don't just want to slap on AI because you can slap on AI. I think there's nothing wrong with kind of a simple payment portal sometimes where as long as the AI is dragging the information, you can review it and confirm it. That's fine. But I imagine like 5 years time, people won't even review, right? You can just trust the agent to pay it.
I mean, I've been hearing
We're not there yet.
We had David Glennie from Voodoo Park on the pod, and he was talking about the 3 horizons of AI, and the third horizon he talks about is like agent to agent.
Yeah,
like, it's just setting up your agent to kind of broker these deals and maybe even like, do you see that happening eventually where agents are just set up to sort of, okay, go find me the partners and make the payment and like, far away? Or
that's what we're trying to do in the next few weeks with our find piece. I mentioned V2 earlier downstairs. We have about 150 users at the moment using our platform. So we've got companies like Deal, Vanta, Treasury Spring, some like really Series A to E logos, a couple public companies, which we haven't got permission to say them, but a couple cool businesses.
We love an announcement on the pod,
but and essentially their biggest feedback was like, this is great. We're happy to use it, happy to pay for it. The common feature request was, I don't even want to bother having to prospect. I just want you to tell me who to find. And so that's what we're implementing next. So you can just hop on, click, go, find me this list looks good. Go make it happen.
And let's dig into more of the product. I mean, you started to answer some of my questions about, how you use AI agents to kind of power faster and smarter channel partnerships. And you're digging into the ways that agents can kind of help companies like activate, partners and accelerate revenue. Like, let's really get into how are they set up to help you find better partners and align with them and just take the prospecting work out of it.
Yeah.
What does the actual product do there that's, innovative, I guess?
Yeah. Well, it's really expediting those manual tasks. Think of it from this perspective. When you are a sales rep and you're looking for prospects, all these tools are designed to make you do that. So I'm looking for people with budget, or I'm looking for a certain title. Sales nav and tools like that are really good for that. From a partnerships perspective, there's a whole 5 times more clicks and research and insights I need.
Right.
So for example, do we have similar sized customers? And so to do that manually, I'm going to sales nav, I'm clicking onto your website, I'm clicking onto your case studies page, I'm scrolling through, and then clicking on their LinkedIn, seeing their headcount. There's a whole extra layer of manual tasks.
And there's no current like off the shelf tools that kind of help you do that currently for partnerships specifically?
Definitely not from a partnerships perspective. Most approaches in partnerships are like we're building a partner marketplace. But the challenge is you need bilateral opt-in. With us, 300 million people, next best partner marketplace is going to be in the maybe tens of thousands of people. So we have that kind of unlimited reach. And the way we do that, we scrape everything online. Not really scraping, but like
Everything
if it's a public source, well, sometimes our sources will be like, I mean, we've just gone through our GDPR and ISO compliance stuff. So it's all compliantly done. But even in those compliant kind of fencing, we can find things from Reddit or like Medium or like Instagram if it's a public Instagram account. So we really go deep and we present that information, just snapshot, say, hey, this person likes doing 10Ks. Here's their Strava. Like it'll be that specific.
Is there I just went to a conference the other day for account-based marketing. Is there an account-based sort of, like what's the account? Like, do you have to sort of unlock certain individuals to sort of secure the partnership? What does that look like from an account-based sort of management perspective?
That's interesting actually, because my background, I've been an SDR, I've been an account executive, and I've been a partnerships manager. And of those motions, I haven't done marketing. That's kind of my real weak spot. But like ABM and like sales, as a sales motion, you have your kind of target accounts. They're more mature motions. They're more established. And people, like, you can kind of say to a sales rep, here are your accounts, make it happen. Whereas partnerships, it's still a bit of the Wild West. Like people don't really fully know, especially at smaller companies. And I say smaller companies, we're still talking up to 10,000 employees. These aren't necessarily small, but the motion's far more immature. So it's only once you start getting to the level of like Deal or like Shopify, really big companies where you get like a partner development manager, and that person's job is exclusively to acquire new partners. But before then, it's going to be some poor partnerships manager on their own.
To nurture the partnerships and acquire them as well.
Who's going to be reaching out to them, then nurturing them. It's like having an SDR, an account exec, an account manager, and a CSM. The partner manager's doing all of that, but for partnerships. Headcount doesn't open up until the org is usually quite a lot bigger.
Interesting. And then what would you say are the early use cases that you're seeing or customer stories that have sort of given you conviction that this whole AI for partnerships thing is about to explode? What are some of the early, guiding lights that you've got?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the feedback from our customers. I think I told you a while ago how we kind of launched initially with we had a test. So the first thing we were sending to our customers was just CSVs of our pilots, not customers at that point, but CSVs. Hey, here's 100 partners. What do you think? Are these people good? Rate each one of them out of 10.
That's very scrappy. That's
it was very
That's great.
It was Souk speed
because you're sending value. You know what I mean? Like you're truly so you've done some work for them. You're sending value. You're not just sort of like, hey, can we get you into this very expensive SaaS tool? Like
exactly. And there was maybe like 20 people we were sending these lists to, and then we had a lovable mock-up where we just exact same process. The list just looked a bit prettier, and they could tick yes or tick no if they were good or not. So it just made it quicker and easier for the user. And then we had a test environment where my COO and I would test the app to see if it works, and we just had a Stripe link on there, and then one of our users went onto the test environment 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, and I see on my phone £49 from Stripe. I was like, whoa, who was this? So that's kind of how we launched, and that to me, because it's quite an awkward thing, is launching a company. When do you start charging people money? And I think that's a lot sooner than people realize. I think for us, this was kind of at the time a real half-built product. So we're a bit like, is this any good?
People give away a lot, freemium. It's like
exactly.
I think you're seeing more and more products now where it's like, look, you got to pay something. In the early days.
Within 4 weeks of that, we had 150 users, and we had like real cool logos using us, and the feedback from them. One company, they found a partner on their first search, and then they automated the outreach through Souk. That person got back to them, they booked the meeting, and then in the space of a week, they had 7 figures in pipeline attributed to the partner.
Like 7 figures new.
So they're a reseller. So the anticipated pipeline is 7 figures,
got it.
Because they understand the value per partner. They're like, this is really significant.
And how has that feedback shaped your roadmap? You were telling me before you came, or as you were prepping, a new launch that you've got, and you're trying to get it over the line. How have you integrated that feedback into your production roadmap there?
Yeah, it's everything. And I always say Souk is the most selfish business where I started because it's fixing all the problems I had when I was running partnerships. But I think because we launched at that really early stage, when someone paid for it, and I was like, right, it's launched. We're doing it today. What that meant was, we kind of held our first, few dozen customers really close to us and be like, what do you like? What don't you like? How do we implement this? And the roadmap, it's similar to where we started when we got our initial investment, but it's just more customer focused, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think the features that we thought
Okay.
were not that important turned out to be very important.
Okay.
And the things we thought were very important turned out not to be super important.
Humble.
Yeah, it's all on the roadmap.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. And then this back to kind of this like ABM piece, so, and maybe getting more into, I guess, activation. So like partnerships by their very nature tend to be somewhat cross-functional. So, marketing, sales, ops, all this stuff, product. How are you building, AI systems that, help, people do that really well, to activate well across, functions within within multiple organizations, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess partner activation is one of like the biggest challenges in partnerships. And I think our belief is that if you find the right partners in the first place, that you're not, there's a rude term for it, I would say, about, polishing. That 1 in 10 shouldn't be 1 in 10 in the first place. It should be, 6 or 7 in 10.
Yeah.
And then the last few who need a bit more activation. What that looks like today is maybe you'll sit on there with a marketing manager and you'll look at a list of mutual customers and you might send out kind of a campaign, a joint campaign, like, hey, we've just partnered with XYZ. Why don't we talk about, our joint value proposition? Or maybe not that dry, but For us, it's also about, partners, you need the right triggers. And especially for that long tail, a lot of partners will have one deal for you and they're not, they don't work for you. They've got their own things going on. It's just about staying top of mind at the right times. If they've just maybe had a big product launch or a fundraise or hired a new partner manager or something like that, our AI picks up those key signals and surfaces it and says, hey, maybe you should send this nurture campaign that we've made for you so that you can reactivate these people. So there's that cross-functional piece, there's that reactivation piece. And then like mapping is the main thing today. Mapping, you can pay a lot for really expensive software to show each other your CRMs, or you can export it on a CSV and just say, hey man, I've done it both ways. And
so you recommend keeping it low tech and kind of, not spending that money, spending money elsewhere, perhaps?
Yeah, mapping's something we're looking into. But I think we really believe everything we do has to be 10 times better than what's there at the moment, not marginal increase. I'm sure we could make a marginally better mapping system today, but it's something we're investing with. We have a product lead who's looking specifically into this. So we want to do it really well and not just give you a pretty CSV like we used to when we were MVP stage.
I mean, that's a really good segue into my next question, which is about like kind of your operating market and your growth strategy. I mean, AI is reshaping go-to-market tooling, obviously, and you're not gonna have this first-to-market advantage for very long. You're gonna have competitors. So, like, what do you think will set apart, standout partnership platforms like yours? What's going to be the difference maker for them? What do they need to have? What do they need to do? And how are you trying to kind of build a moat around what y'all are doing?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 layers to that, right? One is giving customers a fantastic experience, listening to their feedback, building what they ask within reason. And so most of our customers have actually come from referrals from other customers, which is like great. I love that. Whether they're just being nice or, but when they actually pay, then it's like, okay, they do like it. So that's one thing. And I think from my time at Deal, like Deal is a massive company now, 7,000 people, billion in revenue. But if I message someone from there, they'll reply within. Even the CEO, he replies to my LinkedIn message in seconds.
Amazing.
This guy must be AI.
Exactly.
But so that's one piece. But then second is partnerships traditionally has been so focused on. It's been a bit fluffy in the way the tech's approached. I think the partner tech, the account mapping, I want to see ROI. I want to be able to say, this has been the output from Souk. This is how much money it's made me. And there's obviously, it's not quite as black and white as that. There'll be the pipeline, the leads, the meetings booked and so on. Like there's a whole pipeline to it. But for us, we're super focused on ROI. And I want to be in a position where if we gave someone a 3-month free trial, they would be, throw money at us for us not to claw it back.
Take my wallet.
Exactly. And like we charge very modestly actually, but I think that's important to us, like really strictly prove ROI. So we can say to a CRO or a CEO or a head of partnerships, hey, if you use this, you will make more money than if you didn't.
Yeah, of course. And I forgot to ask this earlier, but are you focusing on certain sectors to start with? Like I'm trying to understand where partnerships, like how partnerships differ across different sectors. I imagine they do. And like, how are you managing that? Where are you starting? And then, where will you head in terms of sectors?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the best partnerships are actually kind of cross-pollinating in sectors. In HR tech, they partner with a lot of professional services firms, consultancies, and like law firms of banks and that sort of thing. For us specifically, HR tech is huge. We've got a lot of customers in HR tech, fintech as well. We've got quite a few fintechs using us, and cyber. Those like
Okay.
the three big.
Like cybersecurity is what you're saying? Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, that sort of thing. Because
Okay.
they've got a lot of MSPs
Right,
and like
yeah.
resellers. But then we also have like some recruiters using our platform.
Okay.
But to be frank, this platform was not built for recruiters
Okay.
to find their partners.
Yeah.
But the motion is actually the same.
Okay. Because they're trying to find businesses to recruit for. So they're trying to find customers,
Well,
essentially.
so they can use it to find customers,
Okay,
but it's more like a recruiter wants to work with like a global payroll company. And that global payroll company, you know, can refer them people looking to hire people overseas or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And like consulting firms want to well, actually, back to recruiters, they partner a lot of ATSs.
Okay, gotcha. That's the tracking system, yeah.
So, and like background checking providers. There's a lot of those. And then what you find is, I met a recruiter yesterday. He was saying 90% of their revenue comes from referrals from VCs.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm just thinking, would you rather be cold calling or getting a nice warm lead?
Pipeline coming to you. Yeah, that's super interesting. And then do you guys have partners? Like, who are your early partners at Souk?
Yeah, we do. We do. I think we actually partner with quite a few recruiters, funny enough.
Okay.
Because they kind of have the reverse challenge of where they often send leads to tech companies.
Yes.
And then these tech companies say, all right, thanks, I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah.
And then they just don't hear from them. It
Exactly,
goes to the abyss.
Yeah.
And so we give them that visibility. And interestingly, it's not necessarily like they're not using the core product, but they do benefit from being able to manage their leads from the product. But then that subsequently has led to more customers.
So does that help them sort of better partner with companies to know when it's the right time to send the right leads, I guess? Like, is that what they're shooting for?
For them, the big problem is they'll send a lead. There won't be a partner agreement in place.
Right, of course.
And they'll have no visibility on who owns that lead, what's the status of the lead.
Okay.
And then, you know, to pay someone out, you need to do your KYC. You need to do things like that. So it's just giving them that trust that these processes are being handled and that lead is somewhere being looked after. And I had this exact same problem at a previous company, won't say which one, but where we had my predecessor had left. Yeah. And so the partner agreements all lived on his email. Okay. And then we owe this company a lot of money. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know what to do. And then the CFO is like, no, this is a lot of money. I don't have an agreement in place. And so it's that problem of like, they're definitely never going to send us business again. Right. And this is enough money to sue over. So yeah, for them, it's more like, frankly, it's a nice to have in some ways for them to be able to get that visibility. But if you're sending enough leads, it's air and fire problem, right? Yeah. Because there's no tracking there. And then our other partners at the highest level, people who send us business, it's our own customers. We're going to launch our own partner program. Yeah. Q1. Yeah. I think it's the sort of thing. It would be right. And also, I really believe most of our business should come from referral partners. Yeah, definitely. I love a cold call. My inner SDR in me, but it should come from partners. And I think we're on the way to that. But to launch a partner motion, I think you need that like kind of critical base of customers and to understand your own business and your own customers so that you can actually add more value to them and say, can we do this? We don't do this stuff. Why don't I introduce you to these people? And then just back to growth strategy. How are you, kind of what's next for Souk? How are you thinking about moving into other markets and building bigger partnerships? Like what is kind of your go-to-market growth strategy for 2026? Yeah, 2020, we've got some big ambitious plans. So I think some will keep on for a minute. Yeah. But generally, it's been a lot of our customers have been referring us business. From that, we've naturally forming this interesting ICP that we can work with. And then from there, I really believe in like free trials and things like that, which give them a month or 3 months free and then prove that value that way. And then obviously we have a bit of a marketing motion that we're going to kick off. Direct sales, that's kind of my bread and butter. And then, but partnerships is our big strategy. So you'll see in Q1 when we launch that. We'll wait to see. And how are you sort of like staffing that function? Are you bringing in freelancers? Do you have an in-house team? Or how are you thinking about just staffing your growth function? Yeah. So at the moment we have, so there's 3 founders and then we have 3 employees. So 6 people total. And so half the team is technical. Okay. And then we have myself, CEO, Sophia, our COO. She's managing most of the marketing side of things at the moment. Gotcha. And then we have a new joiner, Eliza, who's our product lead / founders associate. She's perfect hybrid. But she's also managing the kind of the product marketing side of things. Okay. And in terms of direct sales, that's all me right now. Okay. And define for our audience what you mean by direct sales. Some folks might not know what's meant by direct sales. Yeah. Reaching out to people, getting them interested in your stuff. And what that looks like is we have a certain number of meetings we want to book a week, and then we want to understand the conversion of meeting to paid or meeting to freemium to paid. If we do freemium, sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. It depends on the customer. Really just that finding. It's hunting as the sales term for it. Yeah. And then once we hit a kind of a critical level of ARR, then we'll probably bring a founding AE.
Nice. I want to talk a bit about your journey. And you've done, you've been an SDR, partnership leader, you've done enterprise sales, and obviously you've worked at a VC at some point as well. That seems like kind of the perfect combination of experience for what you're doing.
You wish.
Yeah. So like, yeah, what do you, I guess I'm interested in what you're bringing from those experiences, but also like as a new, founder and leader, like what do you feel like you're missing? Like what have been your biggest growth edges? I know mine was finance and HR, like good Lord.
I get that.
Yeah. So what have yours been? Yeah.
It's interesting. It's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, actually, because I feel like my whole career has been priming me for this time.
Totally. Yeah.
And so all these times in my career, I was trying to rush a promotion or trying to, and less focused on learning, more focused on kind of, pay increase or salary or whatever it may be.
Totally, yeah.
Now I'm looking back at like, I probably should have, should have got better at that. For me, the big thing's marketing.
Okay.
I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, sure.
That's well, maybe I'm not awful, but like it's just something I haven't done professionally. Yeah. So it's like I'm winging it sometimes. Yeah. Like maybe we don't run any Google ads or things like that yet.
Okay.
But when we do, I shouldn't be at the helm trying to figure out.
It's important to know that as a founder and CEO as well. It's like our co-founder.
Yeah, and I think having that kind of diversity in like I can do sales, okay, I can do partnerships, okay. Marketing, when I compare the three, I'm like, okay, actually, marketing's a bit of a not a spike for me.
Yeah.
But from my experience, so I guess I was in VC. My main VC experience was Antler Group, so they're fintech and short-tech investor. Okay. As well as there, I used to just get this like rage and jealousy and envy of all these founders going through, and I was oh man, I could do that. Well, but I'd started a couple of things before. I started like a little grocery delivery business in Cambridge. It's like affordable groceries for students. Okay. We had several hundred users, but the churn was crazy. We had like 99% churn.
Because they were students?
It's funny because we didn't do the customer development piece. We didn't speak to our users. So we launched this dark store in Cambridge, and then we said to all our users, like, hey guys, you've only used us once. We've got these partnerships of Cambridge Uni and Ruskin Uni, like these influencers. And we're like, you're only using us once. Like, why is it only once? Like, what do you want us to provide for you? Right. And students want two things: alcohol and condoms.
Fair. You pick the wrong product.
Well, they didn't care about our cream at like a 20% discount.
Really, after you've used the alcohol and the condoms, you want some benefit.
But then getting an alcohol license, that kind of killed things for us. So that, and then VC, seeing all these founders go through and being like, okay. And at the time, and I don't necessarily believe this now, but I thought you can either build great things or sell great things. Yeah. Nowadays, I think the doors are opened a lot more with the tech available. But I was like, okay, I can't build stuff. I tried to learn HTML and CSS, a lot of late nights, the hairline, taking a hit. So I joined Deal as an SDR. At the time, they were the fastest to hit 100 million in ARR. And I was like, wow, this is a place to become a great salesperson.
Tried to compete with them. We were working at Oyster, trying to catch up to Deal.
And then, then I was there for a few years. And by the time I left, I was leading their UK partnership. So, and then Papaya on the sales side of things. And I also spent some time in the Army Reserves as well. So I went to Sandhurst in 2019, like the Officer Training Academy. Wow. And I think from there, I had this conversation with someone earlier around like, what takeaways can you bring from the military to founder life? And it's interesting because I think like in the military, there'll be times where you stay up for like, I was like up for like 3-4 days straight sometimes. And like we're in like caution mines, so it's pitch black. Didn't see the sun for like 3 days. Rough times.
Yeah, totally.
But I know if I did that now, if I got back to the office after this and I didn't sleep for 3 days, just hop on a product design call, those ideas are going to be bad.
Yeah, totally. Now you know the cost of
exactly. And it's like,
but also discipline, I'm sure, as well. Like you learn, some level.
It's like that spectrum of like understanding what's too hard. Like 996, people talk about that, which depends on the company, but there's working too hard. But people are also shocked by how hard you can actually work before you start getting to that.
And you really have to check yourself. Like there's some nights, I'll be here and I'll go downstairs, I'll grab a beer, I'll sit down and I'll just be like, I could just, and you're so energized by it because you're building your thing, building your dream. And you really have to be like, I should go home and hang out. You know what I mean? Like go have dinner, go sleep. I could do that.
Exactly. Like go to the gym and like I feel it when I'm not like being healthy after Dublin, after Saturday. So it hit me mentally.
Also giving yourself grace too. You're going to have quarters where it's like, okay, this quarter, like Q3 was like, and you let yourself ride that wave, but also try to steady it, as well. So.
It's really like the gym or like running or something like that, where if you just go all out every single day, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to progress. It's about finding the rhythm that works for you, which is, again, I think is a lot more volume than people think, but it's not that crazy.
Also teaches you to build a business that can exist without you, and that there's limits to that. And you're small and in early stages and stuff, but also like you need to start building towards that. If you're a true leader and true founder, like you need to build things that are beyond yourself. So I think a lot of folks have that self-importance where they're like, everything's got to go through me. And it's like, that's dangerous business.
Exactly. And it comes down to like ego as well. I think one of the best things with the Army There are some great leaders there. There are some awful leaders there.
Totally.
But the best ones, there was no ego. And they would own up when they were wrong, and they'd accept when they weren't doing things properly. And I think leadership, the kind of transfer value in that is that sometimes you have to just drop the ego for everyone, not just yourself, and say, hey, look, you're not good at this. Like, we need to do this in a different way, or I'm not good at this. I need support and X, Y, Z. And that, just no ego, just focus on the customers and the problems, and hopefully things will work out. But
definitely. Let's jump to the quick fire round and we can get you out of here. Real quick, if you could found another tech company after Souk, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I don't want to flake on you, but I can't. There's nothing.
Nothing. Okay, that's all right. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, founders, they just always have all these ideas. So we'll go to the tech questions. So tech invention that makes you the most excited and the one that makes you the most concerned.
I think the way like voice AI and things like that are going, it's so fascinating how like you can be on the phone, you can speak to, and you won't even know it's an AI. I'm so excited to see where that goes in like 5-10 years. Yeah.
And what about when you're concerned about
concerns? Maybe the same thing.
Same thing. Like,
maybe
who am I talking to?
Like the video stuff. On the same side, there's all these videos I see on like TikTok or whatever. Yeah. And then I'll look at the comments and I'll be like, "This is AI." I'm like, "Is it?"
Is it? And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I look longer and harder, and I'm like,
exactly.
And I just think we're just going to lose the ability to tell the difference.
I grew up with my grandparents, and I'm like, "Oh, he's clearly AI."
I know.
Whereas now it's like, I don't know either.
It's hard to know. Yeah, it's gonna. What is it? The uncanny valley. Yeah. Give us a literal human that you want to shout out. They've been integral to your career journey. Who would that be?
Got to be my co-founders, Io and Sophia.
Of course.
I think this wouldn't be here where we are today with the users and customers you have without them.
Totally. I don't know how people do it on their own. You know what I mean? Like, and what's an inspirational quote that stuck with you through your journey in tech?
Ooh, I think it's going to be really, really cheesy. It's from Theo Von. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I don't know if actually maybe it's not his quote, but I heard him say it. Yeah. But I think like when there are those times where things aren't working and you can elbow grease certain problems, but you got to realize when you've got to completely change strategies. And in startups, that often means pivoting and things like that. And we haven't pivoted, but like we always say team, problem, solution. Best team for the job. This is the problem. The solution is actually the least important part, because if we're fixing the problem, it doesn't matter what the solution is. Like, we just want to fix that problem. Be the people to do it. So
what's the alignment between those things? Well, look, I've really enjoyed this conversation because I think you're stepping into a space that feels like inevitable, but also underserved. AI-powered enablement for channel partnerships. It's like an idea that's time has come, and you guys are, it seems like you're first to market, and you're really getting the job done so far. I think you've got a customer in us coming down the road. So we'll chat about that. And I think you're kind of redefining how companies can kind of, scale beyond direct sales. And that's just exciting to see your vision and your co-founder's vision to kind of take root. So well done.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell folks where they can hear more about Souk on the interwebs.
Yeah, so obviously me on LinkedIn, Leo Crowe on LinkedIn, and joinsouk.com is our URL. So you can try out the freemium, or you can book a demo. And I'm always open to yapping about partnerships, payments. I love it all.
And it's SOUK, right?
SOUK, yeah.
Cool. Well, listen, everybody, thanks for joining. It's been another great episode of Tech Can't Save Us podcast by Literal Humans. Please give us a couple stars, hopefully 5, and a review so we can keep bringing great guests like Leo Crowe, the co-founder and CEO of Souk, onto Tech Can't Save Us podcast. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.